Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this. Ladies and gentlemen, oh, that's it. Let's fix that. Welcome to this clan war between Team Exo Gaming and Team Psionic Aftermath. And I just say it's thank you very much for Team Psionic Aftermath for giving me the chance to do this. It's not something that comes up very often. And for some reason I can still hear myself talking. Why in the hell is that happening? Well, there we go, that should be that better. This evening we'll be seeing a 5-on-5, a single elimination versus, well, I think we've got our first game down. But we're just waiting for things to start, for everyone to get into the game who needs to be there. And then we'll kick things off. Just for the record, anyone who feels like subscribing to the chat, you know, stuff like that, that'd be pretty cool. But for the moment, we're just gonna make sure we can get something going, and as soon as we're all ready, we'll be heading in. Yeah, should be an interesting match. Got a couple of quick notes about players which we'll come to when they start playing. But this is the thing, I'm hoping to had to get the stream up and ready before things started, because the last thing you want to do is having the game starting menu come up, load the level, and be like, oh god, I have no time at all. So, the stream should be up. Right. We are going to see the first game between Exo Scribble and Psionic Aftermath's Vanek, by the looks of it. It's going to be PVZ. Having a quick. Oh, we have people in the view in the stream. Welcome. Thank you for being there. Good to see you. Please feel free to hit that subscribe button, which, if memory serves, is about here somewhere. Oh, and it looks like we might be about to go into that first game. A little bit of, I'm assuming, is Korean. The first map, I believe the one we're going into, is MLG Ohana. And we're just gonna, again, we're just waiting for the details need to be sorted out. No, sir. So, as I said, first map is... Oh, we look like we're heading into the first match. First match is going to be a PVZ on MLG Ohana. And what we're going to say is, as our Bluezerg... Let's see, we'll wait until the actual level loads before we try and do all the player introductions, because you know what? It's nice that way. Let's see. Come on, Vanek, get in that game. Okay, in the top left, we have ourselves... Ooh, having some lag there. Wow. Not sure what that lag was. I'm kind of hoping that there's not too much in the way of lag here, but I have to admit I am casting on a US server. Or rather, I'm connecting to a US server and it's not where I live. This is not encouraging. Oh, this ain't good. Well, I think I see what the problem might be. What was it? It was originally... No, I can't see how that would have gone wrong. It might have been an emergency type thing. Let's hope that whatever it is, it's not too serious. Because the last thing you want is to be cussing a guy out for, you know, pausing the game and disappearing when something actually happened. That would be a bad thing. But let's go with the idea that at the moment he's going to come back shortly, and we'll see what happens. If not, tell you what, we'll switch away from this for a second. At the moment, we're looking at very little actually happening in game because we're in the first 8 seconds of the game. Looking at the map, it's an interesting map for me at least, because the opportunities to get into your opponent's natural are there, but you have to let them know you're coming if they've walled in there, or you know, reinforced the main entrance to the natural. So I'm wondering, will we see, you know, an early push on either of them? Oh, hello. Scribble's disappeared. Not a good start. But, no, everything is fine. What we'll do is, I'll have another go. It's entirely possible that Scribble was having some kind of issue. Possibly a connectivity issue. Well, that's something this thing needs. It needs a way of muting the microphone so if I cough, I'm not coughing directly into the mic. That would be a good thing to have. Oh well. Apparently that's what happened. Apparently Scribble did disconnect. I believe the plan is to have some kind of reconnection, and hopefully we can try that match again. Oh well. Hopefully we'll be able to get that set up fairly shortly. Apologies to people in the stream for the shortest match. Well, possibly not the shortest match, but one of the shortest matches in history. To be fair, it's not something I haven't done myself. I actually had a couple of games where before I got my current internet, I managed to get connected, and I was connected, but it took so long that by the time I'd connected, I'd lagged out and my opponent beat me had won because of it. And it's just like... we're being told that he needs a couple of minutes to get back in. So in the meantime, I'm just going to pimp out the stream that I try, the sort of show that I'm going to be trying to run on Monday nights. Because hey, the plan is at the moment to put together a regular Monday night thing where, apart from anything else, I'll probably be trying to run King of the Hill tournaments to get my casting going. Which, by the way, peep mode maps are amazing for, because you don't need to drop out of the map between players. Gotta love that. And also, you know, silly matches. I think one of the things that we did last time was 5-minute mandatory cannon rushing between 5 different players on Megaton, which meant that 4 of them spawned this far apart from each other. There was cannon hell for about 10 minutes. It was amazing. There is also the opportunity, I think, possibly doing something along the lines of everyone must 6-pool or die. I'm actually going to see if there's any custom maps that allow you to basically do the Trial of the Xel'Naga thing and basically knock someone out if they don't do it right. Excuse me. Looks like we've got everyone back in. And just waiting for Vanek to get in now. Let's see. Aha, here we go. Looks like we're going for, now that we've got ourselves set up again, we're going for a TVZ on Ahana, the MLG version of Ahana. And hopefully, come on guys, let's get it right this time. Let's have ourselves a lovely match. Well, here we go. As before, we've kind of done the little introductory bit. We've done the whole, well, so-and-so and so-and-so are playing this match, and it's going to be on here. So I guess we'll just have to pop ourselves in. Please feel free to subscribe on either my YouTube or my Twitch. Both would be appreciated. I love getting them views. And then we'll see what happens when Vanek and Scribble go head-to-head. And we have ourselves the Zerg. In the bottom right, it's Exo Scribble. And in the top left, we have ourselves Psionic Aftermath's Vanek. And to start off with, let's bring up Dat and Name Tag, which gives us A, an easy way of looking at the food without craning my eyes to this side, and B, a nice little display of the names and races. We're looking at basically the start of the game. It's a standard start to a game. We have ourselves a Scouting Overlord coming out, because why not? There's very little else to do with them. So far, building workers, supply depot going down at the choke for Vanek. Again, this is all sort of very standard play. Not seen anything quite fascinating just yet, but that is unfortunately the way. Unless your opponent's going to go for a 6-pool or something, you're not going to get much in the way of oh my god moments first things first. Next thing we're expecting to see from either of these players is presumably a barracks coming down from Vanek to help fill in that wall. And at some point in the none too distant, I'm expecting to see, hopefully we'll see a spawning pool coming down for Scribble. When he's got another 30 minerals, another 80 minerals. Oh no, he's not going for a 14 pool. Is he going for a fast expand? Could be. Then follow this worker. Oh, yep. He looks like he's going for that expand. He looks like he's going to put it down as soon as he can, which is going to be now. The Terran player has not scouted him yet, but then he is basically just finishing his wall in. Oh, no, he isn't. Yep, is he? Yep, there he goes, finishing that wall in. The Overlord scout going to be coming in from the left-hand side while the drone comes up to check that, yes, indeed, that wall in is complete. He's not going to be able to get there in time to do anything other than maybe poke at that supply depot a little bit, but I can't see him wasting his time on it. He might try and go for the worker harass. Oh, it looks like it's going to hurt, but only enough to get in a few hit points of damage. Not really that interesting. Not really that much. Yeah, he's done 10 damage. However, the Terran is about to see that his opponent has put down Dat Expo. Zerg sending a drone out to basically tell it to go away. Your kind's not welcome round here, sunshine. We have ourselves the spawning pool's gone down. It is 35 seconds done into 65. Be done shortly, which gives the Terran enough time to scout around and see that his opponent doesn't have any gas. Oh, interesting point. We've got ourselves a factory coming down for our Terran player. Presumably that means we're going to see ourselves some deliciously fast Hellions in the none too distant future. Unless he's specifically going straight for tanks, which I don't think he would do. But hey, a couple of Marines coming out to put that pressure on. The question is he going to push them up with this SCV and build a bunker in his opponent's base? It's going to be a little bit late to get fantastic placement on it, given that the hatch is already down. Ideally, you'd probably want to put it slightly closer, I think, just to make sure. But he can still build himself a really annoying supply depot. Oh, unless those Zerglings can push it back, which it doesn't look like they are. More Zerglings streaming down the ramp, but one of them is almost dead. The Zerglings now attacking the bunker. The bunker gets cancelled, and that worker is history. Good little hold there. I mean, to be fair, it was kind of expected. He did have Zerglings out before the bunker started to go up. We have ourselves Queens at both bases. Aha! We're going for ourselves for a starport, which is an entertaining concept. We're getting a Hellion out, which should be able to put some nice pressure on. Basically keep that space. The Lings are coming out to play, which should be interesting if they can get up to the north base. Checking for, presumably, OVs, looking for an excuse to shoot something big and floating in the sky. Another Queen being made by the Zerg player, who now has at least 2, so I'm guessing these are for creep spread and general harassment of Marines, because they're very, very good at it. Zerglings are going down faster than they would like. A couple of them taking... Oh, and they're all wiped out. At this point, our Terran is looking to make himself a medevac, a single medevac. Entertaining. We got ourselves another Hellion coming out. That makes a total of 2. This will break a third. He's not expanded to his natural yet, which seems to imply he's going for some kind of, I don't know, drop in the base right about now. Oh, hello, we've got ourselves a tech lab coming up for... Ooh, that's entertaining. So presumably he's going to push out and try and get himself some kind of Banshee support to go with it. The Zerg is responding to this by putting down Dem creep tumors. That'll definitely help him in the near future if he can basically spread the creep as far as he can. However, he doesn't know that the Terran is pushing down with a bunch of Hellions, a bunch of Marines, and the ability to heal those Marines. And, yep, there we go, a Banshee building at that. Oh, and he can see the tech lab. The Zerg has seen pretty much everything in the Terran's base, and while he's going to lose that Overlord, it's not actually going to cause him too much pain at this point. The Medevac coming around the back for a drop while the Hellions go up the ramp at the front. Zerglings pushing out. Exactly the wrong time. They're going to have to do such a U-turn as soon as the Terran shows his face in the base. But unfortunately, I don't think he can actually be seen from there. Ooh. Nope, he cannot be seen. The Marines are in the base. We're getting some elevator Hellion action. And those Hellions are in the base. The question is, will he be able to do anything with those Lings, given that they're exactly on the wrong side of the map? Cloak coming out now, and another Banshee. A Banshee is just finishing being built. That Queen is so dead, it's not even funny. The Zerglings, are they going to turn around? Are they going to fight? They're going to go and fight while this base is being taken out. The Queen's coming back to defend. There's 3 Queens there, but are they going to be able to do enough damage? I don't know if they are. That Medevac being chased off. Transfusions happening between the Queens. This is probably going to hold at this point. If he can take 1 Queen out, at least that'll be something. Yes, he takes a single Queen. The drones are taking so much damage at this point, but is it going to be enough to cause any serious harm? The Spore Crawler's gone down in the main because of that. Oh, and the Medevac is entirely gone. At this point, Terran is now pinned into his base by about 8 plus 4 is 12 Zerglings. He's got sufficient forces to push it back because he's got a single Banshee, but is it worth it? Because then his opponent will know where that is. Yep, here we go. Having ourselves a little push out to try and take down a few of them Lings. Does he see? Yes, he sees the Lings. They're going to get enough of a surround on those. Oh, no, they're pulling back. The Zerglings trying to get a surround on the Hellions. I think they've got it. The Hellions are going to go down. This is not looking great for our Terran player. Axo Scribble with basically complete map control at this point. While his opponent, he may be sending out a couple of Banshees. I don't know if the Lings have seen that. They're running back to check. They can see, yes, the Banshees are incoming. At this point, a couple of dead Lings are so much worth the cost of noticing what your opponent is doing before he does it and being able to put defenses in place. That's another 2 Spore Crawlers going down. Zerg's third, nicely spored up as soon as those Spore Crawlers finish. Oh, are they going to finish in time? The Queen's going to probably die from this assault because, honestly, from what I can understand, 1 Queen is easily taken by 2 Banshees. The Banshees have now cloaked. He's trying to move those Spore Crawlers into position to actually detect them. Are they going to be detectable by that Queen? That Queen's going to take a lot of damage and probably die if it isn't careful. He's going to have to bring that 2nd Queen down to support. He's found a little bit of a money spot where he can bombard the 3rd base from a distance, but unfortunately it's not enough. That Queen in a bit of a vulnerable position, and the Terran has moved down and is securing his front supply depot down there to get rid of them, to make sure that any random Baneling attacks that come in don't do too much damage, and the Banshees are retreating back. Zerg pushing out dat creep into dat middle of the map. In terms of Overlord spread, we're seeing they're off at the sides. He doesn't have much vision in the middle of the map, I don't think. Let's have a quick look. Nope, Zerg doesn't have a lot of vision in the middle of the map. He does, however, have vision on the gas on one of his opponent's 3rd. Again, not terribly useful, I don't think, but we'll see. 2 Banshees in the middle being joined by a 3rd, and between the 3 of them, they're going to push down and try and take out some. Well, they're going to take out some of these Lings just by the fact that they're there, I guess. The Queen on the other side, is she going to risk herself by moving in, or is this just going to be the massacre of the Lings? Yes, it's going to be a bit of a Ling massacre. The Queen in the base moving up to drive those Banshees back, but are they going to be enough considering there's no detection around here, and that's 1 dead Queen, potentially 2. Are they going to go for it? No, they're not transfusing that Queen, but at the same time, now that the Queens aren't anywhere in the base, there are no Queens in the base to make any of them lava, which is going to basically hurt the Zerg over time. We've got ourselves a ball of Lings heading up to the top while the spawning pool is getting taken out. It's going to go down before the Lings hit the bunker at the front, taking damage, gonna die. Not a lot the Terran can do about that. Ling's moving up in to take out this wall out, and if he doesn't repair it, it's going to go down. Then Ling's in his main is going to ruin his entire day. The workers coming in to repair that at the last second, and they're just able to peel that one back at the last second. Zerglings streaming up the ramp. Nope, nope, streaming down the ramp. Their work here is done. They can't take any more out without risking far too much. We've got a couple of Banshees coming back to clean up the Lings to basically take a little bit of that pressure off. Down in the Zerg base, somewhere about here, we've got a Pool going to get his ability to make Zerglings back. And somewhere around here, we've apparently got a Spire going down. Is that the Spire? Right there in the third. Protected from pretty much anything that could really attack it at this point. Lings going back into the base. Oh, Banelings, Banelings, all the Banelings. Is it going to be a horrifying massacre of the mules? While Banelings might be terrible against Banshees, they're really good against anything on the ground, as long as they can get up to it. Enough, especially in those kind of numbers. But we do have 4 Banshees coming down. Is that going to be enough to out-DPS a single Spore Crawler? Well, I guess it doesn't matter, because there are 3 of them surrounding this base. Scribble deciding that when in doubt, more Spore Crawlers is probably better than not enough. And it's just in time to see that Spire finish up. 6 Mutalisks on their way in. That's going to ruin the Banshees' day, because they can't shoot the Mutalisks back. The Banshees reveal themselves in their placing. He's taking out Lings. He's taking a little pressure. He doesn't. I'm fairly certain he doesn't know about the Mutalisks that are about to ruin his entire life. We've got ourselves a couple of Overseers here, so they can't even hide from the Mutas. Question: actually, has he seen that Spire? Let's have a look. No, he hasn't seen the Spire. He's seen what would be a Spore Crawler, but he hasn't seen the Spire, and those Mutalisks are now on the map. They haven't made their presence felt just yet, but they certainly will in a second, as soon as they can get up to the Terran base and start wreaking that havoc. In the Terran base, at the moment, we have ourselves, well, actually, a blind counter to Mutas, as it happens. We've got ourselves the Thor coming out. It's rallied to the wrong place, but it should be able to mostly build before the Mutas hit. It's got, another 15 seconds of Thor coming back to say, this is not your base, Mutalisk. Get out. You are not welcome here. They do seem to be not entirely bunched up, but unfortunately for them, the Thor's being repaired, and at this point, Thors are better than Mutalisks when there's 2 or 3 of them to go around. They're trying to move on to find other targets of opportunity, but they're taking so much damage. The workers moving away, putting the Mutalisks back in front of the Thors, and down they go. In the Zerg base, we have ourselves a Roach Warren going up, and we're just about to finish +2 melee attacks. Let's have a quick look at what we've got in terms of weapon upgrades. We've got +1, soon to be +2 weapons on the melee. Carapace is +1, nothing in terms of range, and the Terran has himself some has 0/0 upgrades on the Hellions, therefore also on the Thors. I don't think has he got any Marines we can check out? No, he doesn't have any infantry, so I'm going to guess that he doesn't have any infantry upgrades either. The Banshees trying to do something to prevent that creep spread, but unfortunately they're cloaked. We got ourselves a nice big Hellion push. The question is, will they be able to deal with the 15 roaches that are currently being produced all over the Zerg economy? I have a sneaking suspicion that this is going to turn out to be an unpleasant shock for our Terran player. Vanek, not only is he 43 for supply down in food, but he's also about to get hit by this ball of Lings and Blings. They're splitting apart, trying to get themselves presumably better opportunities for jumping in at both sides of an enemy pack. The question is, does he see anything useful? No, he doesn't. A whole bunch of Banelings morphing in at potentially just the wrong moment. If the Terran moves in now, it's going to be painful, but nope, those Blings are going to get the chance to be built. A couple of Overseers taking some damage, coming back home. That's a lot of Blings. That's a lot of acid-soaked balls. And given that they have the Centrifugal Hooks upgrade now, I believe, obviously I can't see anything because there's hit point bars everywhere, but that's fine. The massive attack has now been seen by the Banshees, who are going to try and do some damage, basically because they can, seeing how much damage they can mitigate on this massive force that's going to push up this ramp. We've got a bit of a split coming out from the Terran because he saw the Banelings, he knows what's about to happen, splitting even up the Thors, because eventually even Thors will die to Baneling harassment. The ramp's not down, the supply depot's not up in the main though, so if the Zerglings or Banelings decide to go up, there is literally nothing stopping them. Roaches coming in to ruin everyone's day, workers coming down to repair them, but unfortunately they're getting shot so fast. I have a sneaking suspicion this is not going well for the Terran player. If he can keep those Thors alive, then maybe the dream isn't dead, but unfortunately, there's still a bunch of Roach. Got ourselves a tank here coming down to support. The Roaches are going down. I think we're going to hold, but at what cost to the Terran economy? In terms of worker count, we're talking about less than 30 workers versus 65 drones. Unfortunately, despite the fact that mules are Imber, I don't think it's going to make that much difference, even though mules are pretty good. Mutalisks almost seeing something they could kill for free there, but not quite being able to do it. The Terran establishing himself third in a non-traditional place, partly because how the hell do you get down to it quickly? The Zerg is going to lose that queen so fast. The roaches not being targeted down because apparently the hatch is much more valuable. At this point, I'm expecting those mutas to pop back in and say, hello. You can't really... Oh! And he takes the base and vanishes off into the distance. Unfortunately for him, all the energy on those on those Banshees is down, so those Mutalisks are going to wreak havoc on a whole bunch of them. The Overseer's making the cloak useless anyway. Mutalisks causing all sorts of pain while there's another roach attack on the main. Unfortunately, it looks an awful lot like that Thor is going to die horrifically, and the presence of the Banshees is not going to make any difference whatsoever. The workers in the natural of turn, taking this horrible damage, gonna die. There is very little that can be done here, I think. Even if Zerg doesn't manage to succeed at this push, Terran is going to find himself so far behind in terms of workers. The economy, the Zerg is going to macro like a boss. We have ourselves the tank going down. The only reason that the Terran isn't dead now is because of all of those Banshees. But even so, there's a bunch of Roach in his natural, which means that technically he is, well, he's about to be one base versus Zerg. All of those workers Maynarding down to the very oddly placed third. Unfortunately, roaches in your base, roaches in your face, GG from Vanek, and we are out of there. Okay, so, game 1, Vanek gets taken out, and Team Exo Gaming takes their first point of the tournament. GG from both players, I think. 21-minute game, very exciting actually. So exciting, in fact, I forgot to drink any liquids whatsoever. Which, given that I spent about 3.5 hours talking constantly early, means I'm going to have a horrible throat. Oh, God. So, that delicious squash. Hello to all the new viewers in the chat, by the way. It's always nice to see new people. Please feel free, while you're here, click on that subscriber button. Not subscriber button, the follow button. That's the one. We'll work out subscription stuff later if I end up getting enough people that it's worth it. But if you decide to follow me, you'll know when I'm doing this sort of thing again. Hopefully we can... oh yes, also you'll be able to watch my Monday night thing, which hopefully, touch wood, is going to turn into a regular show, in which I do casting of silly games, possibly some laddering of my own, but unfortunately that would be... Ooh, that would be execrable, terrible things. Also, things that we do on the Monday night are we do the King of the Hill Peak Mode tournaments, which are always fun. We do the mandatory cheese match, which last time was everybody cannon rush for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, go into some other kind of cheese. Considering next time potentially either everybody 6 pool, bearing in mind this would be an 8-player, 6 to 8 player game. That'll be fun. And also the possibility of saying, let's go for the most macro game ever conceived and have an 8-player, or no, possibly a 4 or 6 player. Everybody do the Griffith build, which is basically build all the orbitals. Build 4 of them on 2 bases. Saturate your workers. Then you have to forcibly expand later. Right. At the moment, we look like we're just sorting things out. We're waiting for the next player. I'm going to see. By the way, if someone in my chat could just say something, preferably, you know, how awesome I am. Just something so I can see that the chat's actually responding, because it's on my other screen. But I can't always see whether the chat's updating, and I don't want to be deliberately ignoring my Twitch chat, because you know what, you guys are pretty cool. I like you. You know, I think you're pretty good. You know, for some of you, I have just met you, and this might be crazy. But that's fine. We're gonna try and get that chat up so I can actually see it properly. Right. Because you know what? There's nothing more fun than... Oh, hello. Having a bit of StarCraft weird. Right. Okay. We've got ourselves... It looks like we're pretty much ready for the next part. I'm going to make sure I can see XSplit rather than the stream, because the stream's behind. I'll pull up the viewer list. It is kind of frustrating that the The stream, which, you know, I use to check quality, is a good bunch of seconds behind where I actually am. And therefore, if I'm looking at it, I'm looking at my face, looking at the camera, and I see myself turn my head, and it's like, oh, wow, that's brain-twistingly weird. But, so it's beginning to look like our second player is going to be Cymelon. And it's waiting for you to get the invitation into the map. It is interesting to note to me, hello, that I haven't put Skype on right, we'll put Skype on D&D so that I don't get disturbed. And hopefully when I come back into StarCraft, we'll be able to see an invitation into that match. Nope, not quite yet. Oh man, it is entirely possible. Could it be? This is the biggest audience I've had in my chat ever. Hello, welcome to the chat. Oh, and also, I'm going to turn off DAT frame rate because honestly, we don't need to know that. That's all superfluous detail in the grand scheme of things. Just had it up earlier for testing purposes. Yes. Still waiting for that invite, guys. Aha! Phenomenalis has said something in my chat, so I can read what you guys are saying. Dependencies could not be validated. What? That's not an error I've had before. Okay, that's a fun error. Anyone know what dependencies not validated means? Anyone? Throwing this to the chat? Throwing this to anyone who happens to be watching? Let's see. Anyone? No? Okay, looks like we're going to go for a remake. Well, we're going to try remake it. It wasn't just me that had the error. It was like 3 people, I think, had the error at the same time. So, I'm actually going to try and pop the chat out because I can't actually see what's going on and have people's names up at the same time. So we'll just quickly sort that out. Oh, hello. Right. Hopefully, good stuff. Don't need to see that anymore. That can go. Actually, that might be a part of the problem. I think it might be only when the chat's popped out that I can't actually. Okay, that's fun. Apparently, StarCraft 2 isn't letting people be invited into the game, which is not encouraging. But we'll see what happens. Oh wow, sorry about this. Having bad stream quality for some reason. Right, let's hope it settles down fairly quickly. Unless it's just me. Are people also having bad stream quality, or is it just me? Hang on a sec. It might just be me, because at this point I'm going to switch back to the overlay. Okay, it might just be me that's having the weird. Yeah, no, my viewer count appears to be. Yeah, it might be worth. I might read. Yeah, just a quick thing for the chat room. Are you guys getting bad weirdness in the chat? Okay, if the quality on the stream is fine, I will ignore the flickering that I can see in my own version. Ugh, it vexes me. Right, never mind. You guys are fine. I'm also fine. We'll head back into StarCraft 2. Put my face back up. Ah, here we go. We've got ourselves an dependencies could not be validated again. That's bad. Okay, let's relog. Apologies for this. It's not meant to happen like this. But we'll launch the Lizard Launcher. Get ourselves back into that game. And hopefully we can get everything sorted as fast as we can. Come on, come on. Signing in, signing in. Looking at Jim Rayner's face. I'm not entirely certain why the display is broadcasting onto his cheek. Okay, just get ourselves all sorted. Hopefully, once it actually logs me in. Come on, that's better. Okay. Apparently, this is something that could be an issue with the map. Okay. We'll mention that in thing. Okay. Right. Okay. Well, I'll pass on that suggestion about the WCS maps. We'll see what happens. Oh man, people are talking about Datcaster. That could be me. Oh god. So, hopefully, let's see. Myself, I'm from the UK. I'm based around Sheffield. Was originally born here, but owing to having lived in numerous different places, some of them on or below the equator, my accent's a bit funny. In terms of race, I play Terran. Not that well, if I'm honest. But hey, we're all here to improve. As White Ra said, more GG, more skill. And boy, howdy do I GG. Phew. Oh, hello, we have ourselves an invitation to Shakuras Plateau. You know that map. It's that map with that thing, with that stuff on it, you know. Hopefully. Yep, we seem to be having slightly more success with this one, actually in the map. Well, according to some people, they can't... I've had people say, are you Irish? People say, are you American? I even had someone ask me if I was Scottish once. I am none of these things. There's nothing wrong with being these things, but it's not what I am. So it kind of confuses me when people are like, "No, you totally sound Irish," and I'm like, you know, but yeah, right. We seem to be in on that map. Well, that game lobby, and hopefully at some point in the none too distant future, we'll see a match between Exo Scribble and PSI Melon. Oh no! Worst time to drop a pencil ever. Right. We're heading in. Let's pop that camera up. Oh yeah. At some point in the near future, hopefully I'll be able to get a slightly... this is one of those free overlay things that happens from time to time. You know, someone puts one up on Reddit, and you're like, oh man, that looks better than the wreckage that I made in the 10 minutes I took to do it. You know, I got myself a metal effect on GIMP. Yeah, no, get someone who actually knows how to do it for your overlays. Believe me, it makes you look so much better. As I found out, because actually this looks alright. Yeah. No, I do sound very British, and I'm very well aware of that. Sadly, however, I will never be as big a Brit as the man Total Biscuit. Such a baller. Okay, let's do this the proper way. In the bottom left, on this map, this delicious, delicious map, we have ourselves Exo Scribble, fresh from his victory in the last map. Can he do it again? Who knows? Let's find out. In the bottom right, oh, go away. Looking at our PSI Melon buddy, playing Terran in the bottom right. In the purple. Let's go with red and blue. Much better. In the blue, on the bottom right, is PSI Melon, who has moved up and is doing that standard Terran build, which is wall in! Because it turns out Zerg can, you know, run lings up your ramp, kill you. Ah. We have ourselves a couple of EXO people in the chat. Welcome. Very glad to see you. And the Terran going for the scout directly after that supply depot goes down. I'm guessing he wants to get as much information as early as he can. Also building DAT racks. Our Zerg buddy up to 14. Is he going to be going for... Oh, no, he's not going for a 14 pool. Oh, wait, no. Is he? No. I'm thinking he's going for an expo, which the Terran is going to see just after he plops it down. Yep. Oh, no, the Terran's actually going to go up into the base. There we go. And he successfully blocks. Oh, cheeky little Terran getting the first punch in on that there worker. Attacking. Are we going to see a victory for the Terran in the worker-on-worker fight? Oh, so close. 3 hit points. And we're going for the eBay block because nothing annoys the Zerg more than building an eBay in his base. This does, however, mean that the Terran is going to be able to get his barracks up completely unimpeded. Spawning pool just now going down on 16. Overlord, however, can see everything that's going on, and unfortunately for the Terran, that eBay is only going to last for another 5 or 6 hits before he's going to have to cancel it. Is he going to cancel it? Yep, there we go. At this point, Terran retreating back home, safe in the knowledge that the Zerg is about to plop down that base. He probably knows the timings on it now. He doesn't, however, know the spawning pool timing because he don't see it go down. He can, however, make an assumption. Zerg has seen pretty much everything Terran has. Terran has seen precisely nothing. It's unfortunate for him, but I don't think it really matters. He's going for an expo of his own, chasing off that Overlord, but unfortunately for him, the Overlord is going to get away because you know what? They're a lot faster than they used to be. This ain't your daddy StarCraft. We've got ourselves a couple of links coming down, so I'm going to assume that he's, having seen this expo going down, he's going to put a little bit of pressure on. It's going to be enough to get up to that Marine. The question is, will he reinforce that Marine with more of his buddies? No. He's building another 2 racks, though. So depending on when the links come out... Oh, we've got 4 links in total in production now. In terms of actual worker counts, at this stage in there... Hello, PSI Melon. Taking a bit of a pause. Don't know what he's after. Clearly something's happening. The question is as strikers in the chat... There's got to be a better way of saying that. Are we going to see a roach bust because of the delayed natural expansion for the Zerg? Let's find out. He's calling that. We do, however, have Ling Speed coming out, and currently only 1 Marine defending that expansion from a long way away from the expansion. Ugh. We have ourselves 2 Marines now, which will be just enough to beat up on those. Ooh, that looks a bit of an unfair fight. Definitely not the Marquis of Queensberry here. Actually, if the Terran builds himself a bunker, this won't be absolutely catastrophic, but at the moment he hasn't built himself anything useful like that at the front at all. And this Overlord cannot see anything at all because it's decided to stay where it's safe. You know, it's just going to hang out. Natural producing itself a queen for the Zerg, and a Baneling nest going down, because you know what's really funny? Drowning your opponent in bowls of acid. I suspect that might be why we're seeing all of these little Zergy buddies left over here, because he doesn't want his opponent to know how many he's got. If he can surprise him with Banelings, then it could be the most fabulous Baneling explosion extravaganza ever. He's putting down a bunker, but against that many potential blings, I don't know if it's worth it. He's got enough Marines to, you know, kill a bunch of stuff. And he is getting stim. Supply depot's going down. Another 8 lings in production. At this point, is Scribble sacrificing worker production? Yeah, he really is. He's got 15 workers, so this kind of has to work. This is ever so slightly all-inish, because if he doesn't, his opponent is going to be so far ahead of him. And he's clearly seen something coming, because he's putting racks down by the ton. This would make a very effective, definitive blocking in. Terran, however, doesn't have much in the way of minerals to carry on blocking himself in, so we're going to have to make sure that he does this one well. We have ourselves a mass of Banelings being morphed in the middle. Only 4 at the moment being morphed. There's already, however, 6 or 7 of them down. That's going to make a sizable force. Production tab says... Actually, Terran's just building the hell out of stuff. He's split his Marines up, so hopefully they won't take more than a Baneling hit each. However... At this point, the Banelings are up the ramp. This is where it gets bloody. Nasty when the Zerglings come in. The workers are going to suffer horribly. The wall-in is going to die very, very quickly. But unfortunately for the Zerg, he's still walled in at the top. Those workers are going to die. Yeah, that's a bit weird. We have ourselves a wall in. The workers coming down to scout. Banelings being morphed in the natural. Take a bit of drink before the inevitable happens. There's going to be a bust up this ramp. The question is, will it be enough? Can the Terran actually survive this assault? He's kind of got to, because if he can just hold this out, then his opponent, who is not droning up at all, can do some horrible damage to him. Oh, and a mule somehow still surviving for another 6 seconds before it will die of old age. Banelings running up the ramp. They're taking out that supply depot. They're attacking on the bunker. Is it going to be enough? I don't think it's going to be enough. I think those lings... Oh, no, the lings retreat, taking so much damage from the bunker at the top. Turns out, if you repair your bunkers, they last a lot longer. The wall in at the top, however, very much looking like a desperation measure from our Terran player, because he knows what he's got in his natural. Ugh. He's building himself a factory. Supply depot getting taken down, and this is going to supply block the Terran because he's not building that one. He's always building one, but it's not happening fast enough. He's going to have to stop building stuff right about now. Those two workers coming out, going to try and saturate his main as best they can. Zerg, on the other hand, now back to building workers, now that he's got the Terran completely contained. Terran's not going anywhere, and he's certainly not getting any surprise drops in because there's an Overlord at the back. Hooray! Zerg pushing up the ramp, building himself an Obi to make sure he doesn't fall into that trap of being supply blocked. Retreating back up to build damn Banes. It's not looking good for the Terran player. While he has a solid wall in of all kinds of fun, delicious things, it's probably not going to be enough. If the Zerglings can just get up the ramp and see what's going on. He knows what's going on. I have a sneaking suspicion he's going to try and tech up further behind this while the Terran basically mines his main out. In terms of workers in the main, Terran's got 40 workers in his main. I suspect a slight amount of oversaturation right there. Actually, let's have a quick look. Yeah, that looks like it might be a little oversaturated. Just a little. We have ourselves... Oh! I think I heard the sounds of buildings lifting off, and we're expecting double medevac production to commence as soon as those buildings land. Is Terran going to go... Oh, he doesn't have... Oh, there he goes for the second one. Presumably he's then going to try and do that drop into his opponent's base, but unfortunately for him, there's a lot of stuff down here, including a bunch of Banes, and his opponent knows that what he's got at the top is not massively substantial. It's good enough to hold for now, but will it be able to hold if he can just push through somewhere like here, or possibly not at the bunker, as this will also deny production. Medevac's coming out, +1 armor being made. Interesting note, our Zerg doesn't seem to have gone for any kind of upgrades whatsoever. He seems to just be massing up Zergling, Baneling, and the Terran, trying to put that command center down on top of all of the Lings. They're not going anywhere, buddy. They're not... oh, wait! They're moving out of the way. How very gentlemanly of them. I suppose it's better in some ways to get, like, the... would it be better to get the kill or just to deny the existence of the whole thing? And that Ling brutally dies. 3 Stim Marines going down there. I suspect they're not going to do an awful lot there because that's a lot of Lings right there. Back in that bunker you go. Zerg finally deciding to commit himself heavily to droning up, because while the Terran has got himself a fairly defensive setup, well, then Medevac's gone. Oh, there we go. The Zerg main is being completely destroyed. Managed to focus too much on the Banelings. The Banelings moving in at the Terran natural, taking out that bunker, taking out a bunch of Marines. The Marines running like hell because that's a lot of Banelings. But unfortunately it looks like the Zerg base has been taken down in their absence. Enough to go... Oh, a scribble GG's out. The Baneling bust, not quite enough. And thus we go back to looking at my face. Oh dear. Had Terran not gone for that precise timing right there, if Zerg had pushed up a fraction sooner, it might have been a very different game. But, in the end, Scribble, despite the fact that he had his opponent walled in and probably should have seen a drop coming, because when you've got a Terran boxed in, what do? Fly out by some other way. They've got medevacs. It's a thing. However, Team 2, that is Cymelon, wins the day. Scribble goes down. So that's Vanek and Scribble both down for the count. We're going to wait and see now what our third map is going to be. Taking a drink of Dat Squash. Can't even remember what kind of squash this is. I think it's coming like fruits of a forest of some kind. So, while we're waiting, back to a bit of banter with the chat room. How are we doing out there? So far, we seem to be saying very little. In fact, talk more, people. Oh, sorry. Sorry, being a bit BM to my chat there. Ooh, awkward. So, Phantasmal. Why, thank you, Huxley. You're a gentle person. Oh, actually, just as a paranoia check, how am I doing for stream quality? I'm hoping that, okay, the video is going out, I think, at 30 frames a second. Hopefully that should be enough for now. We'll work on somehow getting my computer to scrape those last few frames so that when I try and do at 60, it doesn't drop StarCraft to like 9 frames a second. Doesn't work well when you're trying to do anything at all. That said, this rig was designed for streaming, and that's apparently what it's good at. At the moment, we're seeing what we're looking for. We have ourselves a bit of a chat going on. Getting compliments. Why, thank you. Yeah, this is the thing. Like, when it comes to actually playing the game, my fingers decide to do things that I don't tell them to do, and thus my Marines, in their infinite wisdom, decide to go Banelings. You know what they need? They need a hug. So my Marines run into Banelings in massive groups and die horribly, and then I lose. Yeah. Okay, well, according to the chat, the stream quality is okay, the audio quality is perfect. Oh, this is where having a decent microphone makes all the difference. Been invited into the next match. Map appears to be MLG Daybreak. Hopefully we won't have the same issues we had with the last map of dependencies not being available. But let's see. Put the juice down. Don't need that. Daybreak. Let's have a quick look. Remind myself how this map works. It's a big map. Rush distance is not that small. Yeah, this could be entertaining in terms of... I'm guessing we're going to go for a slightly more macro game on this one, just due to the slightly large rush distance. But I guess that's down to the players. Down to what we've got. We've got ourselves a Protoss on one side versus a Terror on the other. Apparently I'm being compared to someone called Kevin Knock. Make a note of that. Look him up later. It's not a name I recognised. But that's cool. If I'm being compared to a person who already does casting, that's pretty sexy. My apologies, by the way, for my voice. As I said before, this is now our... I was running a game for 3 hours earlier, 4 hours maybe. So this is now hour 5, 4, 5, something like that. Looks like we're about to go. We have ourselves that beeping noise. I don't know if you can hear it. I certainly can. That tells us that we're counting down the seconds until the next map. Good luck, have fun to everyone concerned. Cymelon going up against Descendant. Descendant coming in as a Protoss on Daybreak. Will he be able to break Cymelon's streak of one game? It's not that much of a streak yet, but he could still take it further. Will Cymelon be able to make this a 2-game streak? Or will he fall at this hurdle right here? As the game loads up, I'm going to experience that few seconds of lag that I always seem to have at the beginning of these games on US servers, where the first 8 seconds pop by. Now we've done that, let's actually put the stream into the game. Good luck, have funs from everyone. Bring up that names panel. As I said. So, in the top right, we shall do this officially. We have the Protoss Descendant. That actually sounds like a term for something. Protoss Descendant. We'll look into that later. But, taking on him, in the bottom left, is Cymelon, fresh from his victory. My computer's apparently slowing down. Screw you, computer, we can do this anyway. Trying to pair his workers up, getting a bit of that good, tiny little micro difference that apparently makes all the difference in the right point. We've got ourselves a pylon coming down from our Protoss player, nowhere near his ramp, so presumably he's not going to wall himself in. At least, he's not with that pylon. Workers being chrono boosted out. Again, we're going to see based on how much he chrono boosts his workers, how much he's planning on chrono boosting, say, Warp Gate later. We'll keep an eye on that for later. At the moment, we're just keeping an eye on timings. We've got ourselves a 12 barracks from Cymelon. Again, very standard. Why would you not? Kind of need to have a barracks to build, you know, anything else.
Not picking up any gas yet, though, so I'm going to assume that we're going to see bio to start with, at least. We'll see. Scouting worker coming out for the Protoss Descendant. And he has built himself a gateway, from which noble warriors will stride forth, taking his gas for that, presumably that actual vital warp gate upgrade, because it turns out I can't think of a Protoss matchup where it doesn't happen, really. You know, unless you're specifically going for all air for some reason? I don't even know. The Protoss gets into the Terran base, however he's not going to be able to stop that Rax going up. He sees that his opponent has precisely 0 gas gathered, and is therefore going to make a set of assumptions based upon that. The Terran's sending out one of his workers. Oh, hello, what's the probe doing here? Probe's going to sit here and be very irritating. Especially if the Terran tries to build himself a command center there. Not in the grand scheme of things the worst thing you can do to a Terran player, because you know what? They'll just pick it up and put it somewhere nearby. Pick it up and move it. Pylon blocked. Oh, you never pylon block a guy. That's just rude. But, nope, that's a pylon block, so the Terran going to have to build his command center here. And then lift it up and plant it down. I suppose it does give the Protoss the advantage that he knows precisely when his opponent has put that base down and started doing things with it. Cybercore finishing up for the Protoss player, who is now 4 ahead in food count. Although, to be fair, 2 of those are going to be from Dat Stalker that was just built. That is just building. He's not started his warp gate research though. Waiting for Dat Gas, I imagine. And come on, there we go. How many times is he going to chrono this? Let's have the chat guess. Anyone? 2, 3? What do we reckon? Just the once? Not at all? Crazy. We got ourselves a nice solid wall in from the Terran. That truly will stand up to all the zealots in the world. We've got ourselves an eBay coming down. The pylon having been removed. Double gas coming down for the Terran. Taking advantage of the fact that the Protoss doesn't presumably know that he has any gas at all. We got ourselves, because he's a cheeky little Terran, eBay block on the natural. Same thing he did last time, but unfortunately it's going to have to get cancelled fairly soon because the Stalker is going to kill it really quite badly. There we go, there's the cancel. Another couple of gates coming down from the Protoss for a total of 3 gates. Sorry, having those wonderful memories of Sesame Street. Oh, Count Von Count. Where did he go? What happened to Count Von Count? So, a bunker going down at the front for Terran. Is he expecting some kind of pressure? Looks like it. Putting workers in it. Building his base up in his main, not down in the natural, even though there's nothing down there to threaten him. We have ourselves a single Stalker braving the elements, and the elocution lessons. A second bunker going down at the top for the Terran player. He is expecting some serious pain anytime soon. And now the Protoss knows that he's ready for it. Will this alter his plan? Probably. We have ourselves a Robo going down for the Protoss player. So we have ourselves the classic 3-gate Robo. Warp gate being chronoed to the finish. Boom! Finished that warp gate. In terms of actual units, actually, he hasn't produced anything other than a Stalker and a Sentry. So, while he's got the ability to, you know, force field that ramp, there's not a lot else. He's clearly, he seems to be going for somewhat of a more macro-focused game. That said, if the Terran pushes out with the 7 Marines and 1 Marauder that he currently has, he could cause a lot of damage to a lot of things. Single Zealot and the Sentry down in the natural for the Protoss player. He's going for the workers. He's macroing like a boss. Whereas the Terran is building himself another bunker right here. Again, playing very safe. I'm guessing he's... Well, this is the thing. At the moment, he has 2 gas. So I'm guessing he's not going mech. He's got engineering bay. Second engineering bay, is that? Or is that... Nope, that's the first engineering bay. Going up. Getting himself some nice upgrades. Got combat shields and stim on the way. An observer coming out for the Protoss. Clearly he's not as confident as he otherwise might be. An observer making its way over the map. And presumably due to a lack of turrets anywhere at all, because why would you at this point, he's going to see literally everything his opponent's base has to offer, including the 3 racks, factory coming up now. Possibly a little late on the factory, I'm not sure. I mean, I know in sort of like... If he went for... He's gone for the double gas, so he is, you know, tacking up quite hard. We'll see. +1 weapons on the way. 2 workers at a time from Dat Orbitals. In terms of actual income, the Terran player's ahead, despite having fewer workers. Mules? Mules, perhaps? Only 2 gas, though. The Protoss seems to be not building an awful lot. Is he just saving up to make himself a nice big push with the big old bunch of Gateway units? Oh, no, he's building a Colossus. Going for all the delicious range of those units that, up until this point in the story, considered just engines of war and useful for nothing else. Concussive Shell nearly done for our Terran player. Building his Marines. Nice little Bioforce. Assembling down in the natural. Question is, I'm going to guess he's going to go for building that starport, building a reactor, swapping them over, attacking at, I'm guessing, how long have we got left on this? 15 seconds, plus the transfer time of about 5 seconds, plus the time to build 2 medevacs, which he has the gas and minerals for. And then he's presumably just going to push out. At this point, if he pushes out as soon as he has medevacs, he's going to get there before his opponent has extended thermal lance. And at this point, there's 2 sentries to be able to choke this off. If the Terran player decides to attack up this ramp, if he doesn't, then the Protoss can probably wall in here as well with force fields. A nice pack of energy on those sentries. The Colossus half done. Rallied down. No, actually rallied to just next to the Robo Bay. Which means if the Terran pushes up before they move out, they'll be in exactly the wrong place to do anything at all. Protoss does, however, have an observer in a really annoying place for the Terran because you can't really see it. Anyway, let's see. We're predicting one gate. We've got a prediction of 1 gate Robo into expand. Oh, and the Terran is moving out, but unfortunately for him, the Protoss sees it all and is reacting accordingly. He's pulling everything back, warping in a few more Stalkers because he's seen his opponent's composition. The Terran, if he pushes straight forward, has got enough time to get there before the extended thermal lance finishes, but he's going to have to be quick. If he pauses for more than 10 seconds, he's not going to get there on time. Oh, another base going down for the Protoss. Is he assuming that the Terran won't attack down here? Well, if he is, then he's going to assume wrong, and that base is going to bite it hard in about 20 or 30 seconds. Everyone mass-producing a lot of stuff at the moment. We've got ourselves a Protoss force building itself up in the main. Another 3 Stalkers coming in just there. And they are not in the right place to save this third, but they might be able to brutalize the Bioforce as it comes up. +1 armor for the Terran coming up. Another 2 gateways being built. 3 Colossi now. If he can do some work, if he can do some good positional work with those Colossi. Oh, he's fainting at the third. Will he be able to see the Observer that comes in? And yep, the Observer sees everything, warping in some Zealots in the third. Unfortunately, they're going to bite it hard. The Colossi coming in just at the wrong time, but they're hallucinated. Will he realize? Will he give a damn? Either way, he's microing his units backwards, not realizing which ones of the Colossus are real and which ones are fake. He's running away, and it's probably a good idea at this point. There's Protoss holding with a fantastic bit of foolery there, bit of fakery. Now he's going to eventually replace those hallucinated Colossi with real Colossi. A few more Stalkers being warped in. Some Vikings now, because the Terran saw how many Colossi he had and is probably going to overcommit to Vikings. Another EVA going down. Armory going down to research all of those beloved upgrades. In terms of actual upgrades on the Protoss is completely unupgraded at this point. I don't believe he even has the capacity to make Blink, because he hasn't got the Twy-Cow. The Twy-Cow. That said, good use of energy on them sentries. The opponent ran away when really he could possibly have taken that. But the third is now established, and while it's taken some shield damage, whatever. Interestingly enough, if memory serves, in Heart of the Swarm, that will actually be easier to fix because you get a Mothership Core and energize. Just in case you think the Terran is going to come back, we have ourselves a proxy pylon going down. Well, it's not really a proxy pylon, more a defensive proxy, I imagine. Bit of a warp-in pylon going down here, within spitting distance of the Terran's third, which is nicely getting on its way to saturated. I don't think it's quite fully saturated yet. The Terran going up to the top left for some reason. Where's he going? Is he going around? He looks like he's going around. He's going to run into a pylon and blow the crap out of it. It's going to go down nastily. There's another pylon at the back there. Will the Terran see it? Will he not? There's a drop failure there that I managed to miss completely. Ooh, poor. Keep an eye on that mini-map. We have ourselves a bit of a Terran push at this point. Oh no, he's bringing his medevacs back. Apparently something has spooked him, as he's pulling literally everything he has, clumping it up, and is presumably going to go death ball-tastic on the third base at this point, moving down into position with all of those Marines and Marauders, 4 Vikings on the way, +2/+2 and +1 ship weapons. Protoss finally finishing up his first upgrades, and charges on the way. More Colossi coming in for the Protoss. Possibly not the best of ideas, given how many Vikings his opponent has, and we're about to see what happens when a proxy pylon gets destroyed by all the things. Unfortunately, the medevacs, because they're going in a straight line, go faster than the rest of the army. Proxy pylon dies. The worker that created it, sitting here waiting, fatalistically. Poor little guy. He knew his fate. And now, the Protoss, summoning in some more Zealot reinforcements at his third. Is he going to be baited into? Nope, he's pulling back. The Terran undecided about whether he's going to go to the natural or the third, and it looks like he's going to commit to the third. That pylon, that photon cannon, in fact, going to do no good at all. Vikings moving up to snipe out some... Oh, did some actual hull damage to a Colossus, but unfortunately the Stalker's in exactly the right place. The Bio Army moving up to do some damage in the main... Sorry, in the third. Vikings moving up to take out the Colossi, because that's all they can really shoot at this point, and the hallucinations coming in, but unfortunately for them, and the nearest things to the Vikings are in fact the real Colossi. And for the Vikings all getting crushed, the Bioforce, though sizable, running for the hills. The Terran, while all of this is going on, expanding behind that push. The question is, will he be able to not have the Protoss chase him back to his own base? That watchtower going to provide some useful information, because you can't get past here without going past it. The Terran realizing that his opponent's moved away a bit. Not on the watchtower anymore. Probably having one of those slightly paranoid moments where he doesn't know where his opponent is. At this point, is he going to take some SCVs and stick them on to repair those medevacs? Because they're dangerously low on health. If they get attacked, it's going to be very quick. He's putting workers... he's putting his troops up among his own worker line. For some reason. Oh well. The Protoss deciding that, you know what, expanding to that location is a good idea. Let's do it too. We have ourselves +2/+2 just finishing up for the Terran, and Storm now for the Protoss player, who is morphing in a whole bunch of High Templar, which, if used correctly, and he looks like he's saving up that energy. Gonna need a lot more than that. Gonna need 75 per Storm. Whew, which means at the maximum 2 per. That's a lot of Storms. Mobius Reactor coming down for Ravens, isn't it? Let's have a look. Where's he researching it? Be in a starport. Oh, another bunch of buildings. More command centers going down, and the Terran has decided to push at the bottom using his heavily damaged medevacs. Is this a wise idea? Should he have repaired them? He definitely has the minerals so to do. Unfortunately for him, the Protoss also has a big bank and is therefore more than capable of reinforcing from pylons. Taking the long way around while the Protoss sits in the middle. The Viking's going to come out and make it look like he's pushing up. He's going to see that the Protoss is taking down the rocks in the middle. 3/3 weapons going up for the Terran while he pushes into range of those supply pylons. Unfortunately, it doesn't make a difference to the Protoss's pylon situation. Pushing out to try and take down them Stalkers. My computer is crying at this horribleness. The Vikings proving invaluable to the Terran as they take out the Colossi horribly. Unfortunately, Storms on the other side mean the Terran has to pull back. The Zealots dying horribly to mass Marine and Marauder fire. The medevacs doing their best, but there's only so much they can do against that sort of reckless hate. The Terran pushing forward. Unfortunately, the Archons are going to morph soon, and that's a lot of damage. If he can take those down, if he can't take those down, he's going to have to pull back, running away from the splash damage on the Archons. Oh wow, bit of an exciting engagement. The Vikings sacrificing themselves due to the fact that presumably he's freeing up the supply to make 11 Marines at a time. In terms of supply count, actually the Terran's slightly further ahead. Protoss, in terms of pure workers, basically the same. Terran in the lead purely based on the fact that he has mules. Supply count staying roughly even. We've got ourselves more Colossus coming down, but not massive amounts of it. More gateways coming down, +3 weapons, +3 armor going up for both players, but the Terran is going to have his first, leaving himself a deliciously large window in which to push in and take advantage of that upgrades. Yeah, well. Love you too. That pylon not actually destroyed. The Marines are going to stim in and take that down. +3 Terran ship weapons, which means that any more Colossi that come out are going to die very quickly. The Protoss deciding not to push across the map in case the Terran's not committed all of his forces to that push. He's umming and erring. The Terran, however, knows precisely where his opponent is and precisely what he has. Protoss, on the other hand, doesn't know squat. We've got ourselves a bit of an engagement coming up. Does Can the Terran push in? Oh, those Marines are going to die horrifically, but that will give the Protoss potentially some information about where the Terran was going. He's gone right the way down here and is pushing into the base at the bottom right. Oh, is he pushing into it or is he just going past it? Well, he's seen it now, and therefore I'm going to assume that he's going to push up and attack, put a few forces up into this third base, attack that, and try and keep some pressure on this base, but the cannons are doing virtually nothing before getting taken out. That base is going to die horribly unless the Protoss comes back to protect it. Unfortunately, he's got to defend this base as well, which is taking some actual hull damage. The Protoss is going to clean that one up, but it's taken a lot of damage, and now he's out of position, so the Terran is going to harass this base as well. Workers coming out to get killed with Psy Storms. Not a good place for the Terran to be in, but he does still have a sizable bioforce to fight Dem, Zealot Archon, Colossus, Stalker Ball. What's he whooping in the background? 5 ghosts at a time being made by our Terran buddy, presumably for the wonderful work of EMPs. Question is, does the Protoss know that this is even an option? Well, he's going to find out in a second because he's just seen a flash of what his opponent was doing. The Terran moving in to try and take out as much stuff as he can. The Zealots at the front melting in the snow. Only 2-2 Zealots, going to be 3-3 soon enough, but at that point the upgrade advantage is entirely even. The Terran knows where his opponent is, but he's going to lose those Vikings to virtually no effect. Bit of hull damage on the Colossus, the Terran pushing them back. Oh, that was a bit of a mistake. He could have done some serious damage there. The Protoss trying to mitigate the damage on that one Colossus that goes straight down. There's actually a full medevac of ghosts here, but he's put them in one that is so badly damaged. If that gets spotted by any number of Stalkers greater than 0, it's going to get killed, and that would be a heavy loss of 4 ghosts. Protoss pushing backwards and forwards, unwilling to commit, putting his High Templar at the front, where they're going to do the most damage they can before they get murdered horribly. Ghosts coming in and snipe, snipe, snipe. Not losing a single ghost in return. The bio push takes down an Archon, pushing ahead, throwing themselves at the Protoss force, checking for not overseers, that's a Zerg unit. Derp. The Protoss being pushed right the way back to his own base. Oddly enough, there's a pylon right here. Terran hasn't seen it. Ooh. Protoss reinforcing with nothing at the moment. He's still maxed out. Colossus coming down to join the Ball of Death. Worker heading up. Oh, the Protoss pylon going down. And that worker not lasting very long at all. Question is, did he actually see something that made him go up there? I don't know. Hopefully he did. But I hate to think he was abusing my trust. The Protoss deciding that when in doubt, make everything. Putting himself up. That extra tech building right there. Terran moving down and to the right. Pushing into his opponent's bottom right base. He's basically going to be able to lose a couple of medevacs and push in and kill this entire place. If he'd repaired those medevacs, he might not have lost them all. But such is life. The Protoss reacting very swiftly. Moving down past what would be a nice little force of Vikings. Potentially be able to take out those Colossi before they get even close to the engagement they want to be part of. The Terran moving back out, moving straight into the forces of the Protoss, which have stormed the hell out of him. The Ghosts and Marines and Marauders dying horribly to lots and lots of Zealots, Colossi in the back. Zealots tanking so much damage. The Protoss dropping more storms, potentially on his own units. They're possibly not the best of storms in the world. Lots of death, lots of destruction. The Archons and the Zealots cleaning up that bioforce, and if they don't go and do some damage quickly, the Protoss is going to be so far ahead. At this point, he's managed to kill the pylon, so Artosis pyloned in the base there. But unfortunately, it's not going to make any difference at all in terms of Protoss numbers, because it's now 188 supply to 99. I suspect a move to victory at this point. Unfortunately, the Planetary Fortress, it's good, but even if he moves all of his workers around to doing something about it, I suspect the Colossi and that base, that base is absolutely history. The Terran is remaxing as fast as his little fingers can, but unfortunately at this point, even after a full round of remax, he's only at 107 supply. His opponent is now basically free to push into any of his bases, do horrific damage, and you know the Protoss feels comfortable. He's researching shield upgrades. Oh dear. Let's see. At the moment, the Terran base in the top left, I believe it was his 4th or 5th. I think it was his 5th. Losing all the workers, The base is not going to be able to get away in time because those Archons are doing some damage to it. Oh no, it might be able to get away. The workers, however, are history. Marine Marauder Ball heading down into the Protoss base to try and do some distraction / base racing fun. However, at this point, I don't think it's going to make any difference whatsoever. Extra orbital commands being completely annihilated. High Templar morphing in to replace the minimal losses that the Protoss has suffered. He is, however, he's storming those Vikings. Vikings being taken out summarily. Again, they're not going to be able to do an awful lot, even only just taking down the shields off one of the Protoss Colossi. Zealots taking out the bio. No, not enough medevacs. 4 medevacs coming out, but they're going to come out far too late. The Ghosts doing a decent amount of damage, but unfortunately, because they're not being backed up by the medevacs, there is nothing. He didn't make enough Ghosts. I think he didn't make it fast enough. And as I said in the chat, his micro wasn't really quite well done enough. As Strikers is saying, to really be late game TVP. Got yourself an Archon morphing in here because you know what, he can. He's doing it in sight of the bunker. I suspect that any second now we're going to see a GG out of PSI Melon. Bit of a shame. Would have been nice to see a streak building up, but at this point I think we can call the game for descent. Even just from the fact that in terms of worker numbers we've got 60 on 19. The Terran is trying to mass produce. He's trying to produce enough to keep things back, but his base is slowly being destroyed. He cannot mine from his natural. His main is completely dry. His income is basically nothing unless he can re-establish some kind of worker, some kind of mining. Well, even on his natural, he's got 165 minerals in total. There's nothing here that he can really do to break out of this, I don't think. He might go for a Doom Drop just to say, screw you, I'm going to try and fight till the finish. But at this point, he's got a bank. He's got 2,000 minerals. Even if he maxes out again, it's not going to make any difference. He could have potentially done something about it, but... Oh, the supply depot, the neutral supply depot at the bottom, biting it hard. 10 Marines at a time being made, but at this point, what difference can they actually make? Oh, an Observer gets killed really quite quickly. The Protoss moving his High Templar back a little bit, just to make absolutely certain they're not going to get hurt. A base attempting to go down, but unfortunately there's Zealots in them there hills. And of course, if he tries to put anything up here, the pylon will see it. Warpins will happen. I'm not quite certain what he's hoping to achieve here. Oh, wait, here comes the drop. Like dubstep, here comes the drop. The Vikings moving back in. He's got himself a bunch of workers outside the base, and he's trying to expand. Shh! Don't tell anyone. He's expanding to a place that the opponent is going to find by accident any second now. In fact, no, his opponent can just not see it. Having a look down at the mini-map, there is a worker right here, but it cannot see what he is trying to do. That base up there not being anything good at all. Back to the Everycam. Omnicam. The Terran having himself an income now. Trying to put himself back into a bio frame of mind, because honestly he doesn't have any gas income and therefore doesn't want to have to go mech. Let's see. In the grand scheme of things, we're doing okay. We've got ourselves a bit of an attack down in the Protoss base in the bottom right. We've got some Marauder, Medevac, Marine pressure, but unfortunately the cannons are more than enough to push that back, and even if they're not, there's a couple of Zealots there to finish the job. Charge lots getting in there, doing more damage than a single Marauder can tank, even with Medevac healing. He knows his opponent's going to be coming up here, and there's a High Templar waiting to feed back that Medevac if it comes in. It's just sitting there building up energy. Secret little base, still a secret. Shh, shh. No, no, he has seen it. Has he seen it? That gas is visible. He can see the gas. Has he seen that there is a base there? Does he know? The Observer going in, seeing what he can see in the base. Stalkers moving up. Storms coming down on that. Oh, on the Marine Marauder force in the main. Colossi, Zealots charging up. Colossi doing horrible damage on top of the storm damage at the top, potentially catching actually some of the Zealots with that storm. But that's basically... Oh, storm, more storms going down on the Marines, which don't have medevac support. Yep, storms going down, and Cymelon, GG's out. Good game. Good game. Not quite sure why that lasted as long as it did. Nothing out. And at the end there, the Protoss within a gnat's whisker. That far. Must have been just seconds of being able to finish up literally all of his upgrades. Like he even had, like, shields for level 3. That's how you, that's actually not how you've won as Protoss. If you can actually get to level 3 shields, then you've probably just broken into his base and killed him. But still, it was an interesting game to watch. Apologies there were any stream issues towards the end there. I did have some vague lag stuff going on my own screens, and I apologise if that showed through. Again, I'll be doing some interesting things to settings here and there, trying to make sure that we can sort of smooth things out, get as best performance we can out of the rig that I've got. As always, as I keep saying, if people want to stick around, follow me in the chat, see the Monday Night Show, make suggestions, make criticisms, be nice. Because this is the first time. Oh, hello. We've got ourselves a game on ESV Cloud Kingdom. I wonder what's going to happen here. Cymelin being taken out, however. So at the moment, 2 points to Team XO, 1 point to Team Psionic Aftermath. And we have ourselves PSI Kite. You know what? I'm just going to give up on trying to put that sign up. Have a little sign so the rest of the people in the house know that I'm actually on camera. Awkward. Okay, we have a ready from Descendant. We have a ready from PSI Kite. Good luck, have fun. We're counting down dem seconds until we start the match. Let's see how it goes. At the moment, we're looking PvZ. And I'm suffering some lag, but then what can you do? I'm not in America. Because you know what? I ain't no Bandit Keith. Bonus points for, I guess, for anyone who gets that reference. Especially if they get it in America. We have ourselves a usual loading screen. Nothing really to look at just yet, other than the fact that PsyKite finishes loading first. I'm gonna log in slowly. There we go, waiting for me to catch up, and we're suddenly in the game. We're in the bottom left of Cloud Kingdom. We have Descendant, fresh from his victory over Cymelin in the last match. He's playing Protoss. And in the top right, as the screen says, we have PsyKite from Psionic Aftermath. A team set up to improve the play of pretty much everyone. Which is why I'm glad I'm involved, because damn, they could help me out. We have ourselves a little bit of lag going on there, but that's fine. In the top right, Zerg has sent out a scouting overlord, as you do. We're looking like we're going for Dat Forge Fast Expand. We're looking like we're going for that standard PvZ build. I'm expecting a expo out of the Zerg any minute now. Especially once he sees that his opponent is scouting. What's this? We've got an overlord coming down, presumably to hover somewhere over here. Stick around, see if anything comes in. The question is, will he drone scout as well? Because while overlords are pretty good, they're relatively slow compared to drones. That said, I say slow. I say this is a Terran who has to chase them out of my bases all the time. And you watch your Marines going, butter, butter, step, butter, butter. Just move a little bit further, damn it. Oh well, Dat Micro. Protoss, looking like he wants to do some kind of expo thing himself. Which is odd, because I was expecting a Forge to come down, like now. Putting himself a little conga line of one inside the Zerg's natural expansion. Basically taking the mickey somewhat. And mining stuff from his own... Ooh, wow. He's not going Forge, Nexus before anything else. He doesn't have a gateway, and the spawning pool is nearly done. This could turn out to be a basic loss, a blind counter, a build order loss for the Protoss. The Forge is going down very, very late. Zerglings are in production now. Less than 20 seconds till they come out. Less than 30 seconds till they can cross the map. This could be a big mistake for the Protoss, and the Zerg is going to see it. He's going to see that his opponent is has built a Forge, and he's not finished yet, which means cannons are not going to be done. Lordy, lordy. That said, he can see that the Zerglings are there. The Zerg finally getting his expo down after the Protoss by quite some way. A single Zergling heading down now to check a watchtower, to move up. Oh no, not to check the watchtower, just heading straight for his opponent's base, and he's going to find it walled in with a cannon behind. It's not, however, tight, I don't think. So the Zergling, if it's quick, If it's very, very quick, if it's really super speedy, fast, ultra amazing quick, we'll be able to sneak past that cannon and get a complete scout on his opponent's base. The cannon coming down just at the right time. Maybe it'll be there to repel. Yes, there we go. That Zergling not getting into that base at all, with the worker sitting in the hole just to make damn certain. Zerg, on the other hand, has decided to take this opportunity to macro, and is building queens and workers. Natural coming down nicely. Again, slightly behind the Protoss Natural, which is unusual. Protoss chronoing dat workers, building himself a cybernetics core on the top so he doesn't have to build an extra pylon. It does seem like a potentially odd idea if his opponent decides to hit that pylon before something like, say, Warp Gate is finished. That said, why would his opponent do it? It's a solid wall in. It's a bit of a risk, but it's a calculated one. Queen, just in time to feel a bit ill. Couple of zealots coming out from gates. +1 attack for the Protoss. Such a good upgrade for him in this part of the game, because you know what Zerglings are good at? Dying in 2 hits to +1 Protoss zealots. However, Zerg getting in, seeing everything his opponent has, the double gas coming down. He's probably seen, he knows where the front looks, what the front looks like, and presumably knows that there's cannons and all sorts of defenses down the front. He knows it's a wall off. I'm betting he doesn't need to know much more than that, because anything like looking like that, it's going to be a cannon at the back. The Queen's chasing out the scouting worker. A Ling bopping backwards and forwards, making sure the Protoss doesn't expand to this base. 10 Lings in production for the Zerg, not for the Protoss. What the hell was that all about? Warp Gate, data upgrade. Turns out if you're a Protoss, you get Warp Gate. Sentries coming down. Let's see, what have we got in terms of Overlord placement? Actually, in terms of worker counts, Protoss is ahead, which is what we would have expected, given that he was first to put his natural down, really. He can max it, he can increase his production capacity. Spinecrawler coming down in the main. Queens coming out to spread creep, to vomit into the natural. Getting the creep as far as they can, which, although, from what I understand, not as useful against Protoss as it is against Terran, because Protoss automatically have the option of going Robo, and thus having the ability to just walk forward and kill all your creep tumors. Bunch of Zerglings sitting out at Dat Watchtower. What have we got going on here? Chronoing the hell out of that Warp Gate research, but then, why would you not? Infestation Pit and a third coming down for the Zerg. Presumably he's seen something coming, or he's going for a specific build. Is he going to tech to Hive really quickly? It could be a very quick Hive. Maybe. Robo coming down for our Protoss buddy, but he seems to be doing it at the back. Oh no, at the natural. Which is interesting, because if he gets attacked, that's where he's going to get hit more than likely. We have ourselves Hatchery going down. Protoss putting down Proxy Pylon just next to, well, where that Overlord is. Can't actually see it, I don't think. Oh, and a bit of a fight happening in the the Protoss base, as that Overseer gets in and sees the Robo. He gets in and sees the Twilight Council, and gets tickled by that sentry, I tell you. The tickling, it commences. Unfortunately, tickling is not enough to kill anything. So, that Overseer gonna oversee pretty much everything that the Zerg has. The slight attack on the third of the Zerg being taken down rather handily, that being enough not enough zealots to take down anything at all right now. Therefore, he knows there's a proxy pylon over there. He doesn't know where it is. There's a bit of a fight happening over here by this warp-in pylon. Thankfully for the Protoss, it's not the only warp-in pylon he has in the region. And a lot of Lings. He now knows his opponent is heavily committed to Lings. What he doesn't necessarily know is there are a bunch of Infestors coming down. Do they actually have... We need to check this one out. It doesn't have the Pathogen Glands upgrade. But even so, Infestors can still be pretty brutal if you get them out and let them sit there for ages. A third base going down. Now for the Protoss. Bit of a risky play given he's seen how many Zerglings his opponent actually has. But he appears confident, building a couple of pylons out in the open. Blink being formed for the Protoss player. Suspect therefore he's going to try and take advantage of his potentially... Well, this is the thing, he seems to be going for Immortals, even though I'm not sure they can actually get out of his base. Can they actually fit through that gap? I guess we'll see. Bunch more Infestors coming down. I believe that's a total of 5 Infestors coming down now for the Zerg player. Another bunch of Lings. +1 Carapace upgrade, which will save them a lot of pain later in the day. Droning up, taking that watchtower with an infestor. Shh, secret infestor coming down to join. More infestors. Unfortunately, they're going to get spotted by that little observer right there. So the Protoss knows that pain is incoming, and he responds to pain by building a billion cannons. Unfortunately, he's force-fielded in the Zerglings, but he's not force-fielded in enough of them. There's a lot of them getting around to attack the cannons from the other side. Infested Terrans going down. The sentries tickling the Terrans, which means they're not tickling enough. They're not tickling the they're not tickling the infestors. They're not tickling the Lings. The Protoss is going to take some serious damage to his gateways in this location. However, I suspect that Nexus is not going to die. I don't think there's quite enough forces to take it down. If the Protoss can micro its forces correctly... Oh no, it looks like it is going to die. The infested Terrans not doing that much damage individually, but when there's that many of them, boom! Down it goes. 34 Lings in production for the Zerg player. Another Immortal plus 2 weapons. And Blink just finished. Plus 1 weapon melee. And Burrow. We've got a whole lot of Lings. If I may paraphrase Led Zeppelin for a second, because you know what? I like good music. Food count's about even. Worker counts actually favouring the Protoss, but at this stage, yeah. Well, we got ourselves a bunch of cannons being built up, although I'm not certain what exactly he's planning on doing with those, because he just did it, and it didn't really help all that much. Would possibly have been more useful to have more Zealots in the base, doing their damage instead, because they take a lot more killing. I believe, anyway. Oh, I could be wrong. Actually, interestingly enough, according to this, photon cannons would end up doing more damage. A bunch of infestors, a Spire, Hive coming down. Where's the Hive coming down? I'm going to say it's coming down in the main, morphing into a Hive. Zerg takes his 4th base, and is now pushing out to do a little bit of DAT pressure on the Protoss 3rd, which is not walled in completely, and does have a bunch of forces defending it, though. He does actually seem to have a lot more stuff in the region. Carapace upgrades for everyone. Unfortunately, the Zerg pushing up at exactly the right time. Lings flooding in. Infested Terrans for everyone. No real fungal growth pain going down, though. It looks an awful lot like Protoss is trying to do a flank, but the infested Terrans are enough to chase them away. The infestors moving out, leaving those infested Terrans to soak up some damage, potentially kill themselves, a Stalker or 2. Ling run by in the back. Force fielded out. Not a chance for you. Unfortunately, that does take up some valuable energy on the sentries. The Stalker's taking some damage. Finally starting to go down. The sentries being pushed back. A whole bunch of Stalkers being warped in to take on the dying infested Terrans. And Protoss knows that the Zerg is not pushing back because he may have... I think he just saw stuff coming out. And, oh, hello. Observers coming to hang out together. Because they're buddies, you know. Greater Spire coming out for the Zerg. Attacking to some Corruptors. I think we know where he's going with this. He's got himself a fat stack of gas, but is it going to be enough? He's only got 4 geysers, so I'm expecting at some point in the none-too-distant future, as well as the spines going down here at this base, to see a couple of extractors coming down on this base, because he's going to need the gas income. Actually, no, so he's got 6. I'm not certain that's enough. I have it in my head that if you want to go serious Broodlords, you really do need to have at least 8 geysers. Especially because the Protoss is moving out. That Stalker army gonna be in exactly the right place to kill a bunch of infestors if he's not careful. Oh my word. This could turn very, very bad for our Zergy buddy. He'll be able to burrow them, he'll be able to micro them away, but if he doesn't see it coming, this could be unpleasant. The Protoss army moving around the back. It's potentially going to get as far as here before the Wall of Creep sees it. That's quite a force, though. And wounded sentries, 4 immortals. That's a decent number. Unfortunately, something he doesn't know necessarily. Well, I suppose it doesn't really matter that much to him because he's got Blink Stalkers. But the Zerg does have Broodlords on the way in. Is Broodlords actually a mistake in the case of an opponent who has heavy Blink Stalkerage? Well, we're about to find out because he does have 8 of them now. The Protoss moving in at exactly the right time to start to make it there before the Zerg finishes all those Broodlords up. The upgrades are going to kill that Queen. Force field stopping him defending his own base, but you know what? I don't think he was going to because they're only mostly infestors down there anyway. The Broodlords coming in to do some serious pain. At this point, The Protoss has a choice to make. Does he push back? Does he push forward? And he's choosing to push back. He's losing a bunch of sentries. He's losing some Stalkers to ferocious Banelings. He's got himself some hallucinated Colossi, but will the Zerg even notice, given that the Corruptors aren't there to kill anything else? Protoss being pushed back. Some damage taken to lots and lots of that army. Let's have a look. None of the Immortals have taken any serious damage. He's lost a couple of Stalkers. Overall, not doing terribly. The Broodlords moving around to this front section here, putting themselves between his base, and we've got ourselves Glial Reconstitution. What? There are 11 roaches. Huh. Broodlords moving forward, just in time to see. Nope, just in time to miss that Immortal. And the Zerg army pushes forward, taking down that Zealot. I think it was a Zealot. It died horribly quickly, whatever it was. And now, as the Protoss force moving its way down, potentially going to threaten this wall in here, but he is heavily walled in on the understanding that his opponent's going to be pushing everywhere. Interesting wall of creep tumors, but we'll get back up here and see Broodlings. All the Broodlings, and if anything's going to happen now, my computer is going to start complaining. So the Broodlings pushing into the natural of the Protoss player, Descendant, looking like he might be struggling slightly. Is he going to pull his own army back to defend this? The Twilight Council going down before it researches Zealot legs. That wall in getting taken down. The Zerg main is... Oh, there's a Warp Prism has completely trashed the Zerg main by the looks of it. Question is, where are the forces that are coming from it? Oh, we don't see anything in particular in terms of Zerg aggression. I mean, he's got like gas, but not that much of it, so maybe there was a bit of an attack on that, but there doesn't seem to be anything in the way of actual Protoss forces in the base. So while we're down here, we see the fleet beacon. No, hasn't researched anything. Is the Protoss making himself a mothership? Yes, he is. Thankfully for him. Oh, the Blinkstalker's moving forward to do a horrible amount of damage to them Broodlords. They're moving back. The Broodlings doing their thing, pushing back, dead and killed, but unfortunately that's what Broodlings are for. The Stalkers thought they could do a better job of it, but unfortunately they don't seem to be able to do an awful lot, and they get pushed back. Broodlords now within striking distance of both the main and the third. The Stargate that would have done some horrifying things. Nope, not going to do a damn thing now. The third of Protoss being taken to the cleaners by infested Terrans. Unfortunately for Zerg, he can't see a damn thing. Oh, no, the mothership's moved away, leaving all of those units completely vulnerable. The cannons shielded, but unfortunately the worker line and the Nexus itself not protected. The Zerg is going to move forward until he can get himself some kind of... Oh, he's got himself the ability to see because the mothership is moving away. Very nice little move by the Zerg player. The Protoss income still has an income, still got this one base up, but he's one base on 3, I think, at this point. And the Zerg is moving forward. Are we going to see a delicious Archon toilet? It's going to have to be, otherwise... does he have any... He doesn't seem to have any detection with this army. I'm surprised at that. I would have thought he'd have made some effort, you know, move an Overseer in just to negate the point of having that mothership in there. The Protoss, lack of pathogen glands is hurting him, but at this point, he's taking down his opponent's base, killing his ability to just make things. And we've seen ourselves a nice little vortex here, but unfortunately I don't think it caught very much at all. Infested Terrans going down, pushing the Broodlords into there? That's a bit of a strange thing to do. Infested Terrans being fed into the vortex. Broodlings coming down, going into there as well. And therefore the Zerg units doing nasty damage when they come out. Infestors and Broodlings pushing back on the Archons. Pushing back on the Zerg, finally being pushed back out of the base by the Blinkstalkers, which have to be careful they don't move too far, because if they get seen, they get outside of the range. Roaches coming down, Corruptors, which will take that mothership out if they're not careful, if the Protoss isn't careful. And so he pulls back. Unfortunately, as we see in the income tab, Protoss has 7 Harvesters left. Ugh, it's not looking good for Protoss. The Zerg is maxing himself out. Currently 75 supply to 155. It's not looking good for Protoss. He's got a mothership, he's got a living base, but unfortunately he's going to need to work really hard to get them workers out, and if Zerg can realize this and just 1A himself to victory, this could be a very, very quick end to this game. We've got ourselves another Archon in the making, but given that Protoss's income is now just ridiculously small, He's going to have to push in and do a lot of damage right now, otherwise he's just going to get out macroed, and his opponent is just going to roll him in the not too distant future. A bunch of Corruptors coming down. Turns out he learned his lesson about not being able to see anything earlier, so the Overseers are in force. Corruptors doing their thing. He knows where his opponent is now and is moving in. Roaches to take out everything on the ground. Corruptors to take out everything in the sky. The Mothership taking horrifying damage, and it's looking an awful lot like this might be GG. The Zerg moving in clumps, which is probably not the best thing he could do at this point. Hallucinating everything, but the problem is, we know what the difference is between them. He's got Overseers in the sky, and the hallucinations are not going to do a damn thing. Glare Reconstitution turning out to be a bit of a good idea for the Zerg player. Unfortunately, he seems to not have enough stuff to push ahead now. He's only got a certain number of roaches. Why has the Zerg got such a large bank and not being using it on anything? All the Corruptors here are going to get taken down because he just doesn't seem to be microing them. He's building a couple of Spore Crawlers. Is this for DT Warpins? Yes, we've got a couple of DTs moving in, taking out the natural Zerg. Unfortunately, this doesn't mean an awful lot because he's going to be able to just protect protect his main mining base. Oh, and it's looking a bit bad. It's not looking great for the Protoss, but he is trying to make a clutch save. He's trying to... Oh, and here come the Dark Templar. They can see the Overseers. Broodlings attacking them. They're not going to be able to get anywhere in this base at all. Spawning pool coming down for the Zerg because it turns out he doesn't have one anymore. Dark Templar are pretty good at that sort of thing. Attempted Dark Templar harass, shut down by the fact that they have Spore Crawlers. In terms of units lost, actually about even. That's quite impressive at this point. The Protoss is, however, going to need to do a lot more harassment than he's doing right now, because if he doesn't do something big, and he doesn't do it soon, the Zerg is still going to be able to out-macro him because, well, in terms of sheer numbers of workers. The Overseer and the Observer poking towards each other. The Corruptor's going to take that the Overseer, Observer rather, take it out rather fast. If he can get one more shot off. Yep, Broodlords, a single Broodlord, not going to be able to do much, but in combination with the Roaches, those Stalkers are going to go down. At this point, the workers are going to have to cheese it like they stole it. They're getting force-fielded in, which is a bad place to be against anything to do with Archons. The Queen getting taken horribly down. What does he have in terms of units? The Zerg having one Corruptor. Pretty much looking like a very close game, but at this point it might be that the Protoss has done enough to swing things back in his favour. Bizarrely, because, as it happens, the Zerg has a colossal bank and Sphere Kite GGing. Presumably because of a lack of larvae. Phew. That was a bit of a fun game. Oh, didn't mean to press that Windows key. Should probably do something about that. Should probably disable that in the options. Oh well. Come back, StarCraft. Come back. Oh lordy, let me not lag now. There we go. GG. So, let's turn our eyes to the chat room. What do people think? Was that Zerg's game to lose, and should he have lost it? Was it possible for him to rebuild using his fat stack of minerals, stick himself down a couple of hatches, get himself some queens? There's some chat assist from... Wowza. And now, I really do appreciate the existence of people like Adebisi. Seriously, the ability to have someone going, bing, 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 look over here, or in fact just controlling the camera, you just follow them, makes life a lot easier. But... it's fine. Everything is well. We have ourselves potentially some chat. Potentially, actually, from what I can tell, a nice game played. Bit of a screw up by Zerg at the end, letting himself get DT'd to death. Yeah. Oh well. Again, I'm going to pimp out that stream Monday nights. Follow my channel, and you'll be able to receive a fabulously informative email saying that we're going to do that thing. You know what? Squash. My bladder's starting to complain, but... man mode! But then again, I have drunk this and some more in the last couple of hours. It looks like we have ourselves... PSI Kite getting taken out by Descendant. Now we're looking at 3-1. 3-1 to Team OX. Sorry, XO. Getting your name wrong though. You had one job. One job. There's 2 letters involved here. 2 letters. We look like we're going for We're checking whether we can reuse the maps. Apparently it's fine. All is well. By the way, apologies if the chat's actually saying stuff. For some reason my chat is not updating. I think. Yeah. The last thing that someone said was a while back. Oh. And yeah, my stream seems to be complaining about itself to me, but hopefully it'll be the same as it was last time. Well, I'm the only person who notices. Come on, StarCraft, don't die on me now. You've done really well all evening. Okay. Right, we're joining a custom game lobby. And the map that's been chosen is... MLG Daybreak. And we're going for... the one, the only Great Paz for Team Cyanic Aftermath. Great Paz playing on an account which, if you passed it through your local supermarket, would probably cost you money. But unfortunately, not in the supermarket now. And we're seeing what looks like Zerg versus Protoss. Can Descendant carry on his win streak and make it 3? Or will Great Paz be able to bring it all back? Bring it on back now. PSI Kite, stepping up for some food. Good job, PSI Kite. You fought well, you fought valiantly. Have delicious noms. So, I'm going to lean back slightly. Relax. Think about what could happen in a PvZ. You know, build some stuff, go kill a guy. Bit of micro, bit of macro. Maybe we'll see some Dark Templar again, because it turns out they're a bit good. If your opponent doesn't have detection at all. Awkward. Also, we remember that thing that Day 9 keeps saying, that it's the difference between 1 Dark Templar, and I hope he doesn't have detection, and 6 Dark Templar, I hope he doesn't have detection. But, we'll see. Gonna have to take a quick break after this game, because it turns out only human needs to take a short stop. However, we'll try and make that as quick as I can. Right. Waiting for things to go. Descendant, BRBing for water. See if I can go now, actually. Okay, no, Descendant is back. I've got to let Insane Guy know. Right, we look like we're all set. Look like we're just waiting for the match to start. Looks like we're just waiting for the match to start. Come on. Damn it. Ah. Hell with it. Let's go. Exoscrubble apparently watching random YouTube videos. And the beeping happens. Let's get into this. Descendant, hoping to continue on his winning streak. Hopefully we'll have some mana, some delicious play. Is everything delicious? Do I say that too much? I don't know. Whatever. I could use Fabulous. I could steal from Day 9 and use Wobulous, but I think that feels a little cheap, you know. You know, it'd be like saying, like, starting your game and trying to parody the H to the Husky intro, which actually suits him really well, but doesn't really work for a lot of other people. So, Great Paz, in his barcode secret identity, up against Descendant the Protoss on MLG Daybreak. Come on, let's get in there. Load up that map, allow me that 8-second pause that I have at the beginning of every game until the fact that I'm not in America catches up to me. 3, 4, 5, there we go. Good luck, have fun from everyone. The name tab, oh, be really useful. We could actually see in the bottom left on MLG Daybreak, we have Descendant. Oh, and okay, hotkeys, apparently a hotkey problem. It's fine. In fact, in that case, I'm going to take a 30-second break. I'll be right back. I'm going to take up that bottle, fill it up, and hopefully be back. Hopefully they'll let me just disappear for a second. Cool. Right, I'll be 2 minutes or less. Back in a second. Right, and we're back. So join ourselves a game. We have ourselves. Everyone seems to be in and waiting. I believe the guy we're looking for has disconnected and having to reconnect because his hotkeys are wrong. Oh well. Please note, I have transitioned from early game squash into late game water. Because it turns out I didn't really want to have to spend the time going pour carefully into a bottle. My bottle micro is not great. Pour carefully into the bottle, right, get it under the tap, make sure you've got the right composition of squash to water. And then screw the lid back on. The lid screwing is kind of compulsory because otherwise running through my house results in me falling over and spilling water everywhere. Well, shit. Just for the record, not seeing much happening in the chat. Is that because people aren't talking, or is that... Oh! Our missing player is back. Hopefully he should be in the lobby as soon as we can get him there. Not entirely certain. Hopefully he'll have his hotkeys down. If people in the chat could let me know, again, are we still good for quality? Have we had any dropouts? Because I know we've dropped like 1,300 frames. That said, that's, you know, like 1% droppage at this point. Inviting the inimitable Great Paz into that... I'm so pro! Inviting Great Paz into the game. Scribble being the mannered, gentle person that he is. Descendant, we're waiting to see if you're ready. If you are, that's great. We have ourselves the beeping that signifies I need to put my headphones on, otherwise I won't be able to hear what's going on properly. And at some point, disentangle the massive cable. Yes. As usual, we have ourselves a loading screen. You don't want to see that. That's boring. What we do know is ZVP on MLG Daybreak. Again, we're reusing a map. Large rush distances, so we're less likely to see a 6 pool. And And there we go. And we're in. The little bit of juking at the beginning happening because, as it happens, my computer lags a little. But that's okay. We got in eventually. In the bottom left, we have our victorious Protoss. Protoss Descendant. Descendant Ascendant in his glory at this point. Pushing himself to a two-win streak over PSI Melon and then PSI Kite. Now he faces off against Great Paz, and I know I'm yeah, whatever. I'm slowing the game down a little, so my computer is slow. Whatever. Really shouldn't. We'll need to work on that. If anybody knows a lot about, you know, XSplit and all, who can work out how to squeeze a little bit of extra performance out of a computer, please let me know. Because at the moment we're trying to get it. You know, it's a decent rig. Should be able to do. Should be able to do this. No real effort, but that's fine. So, in the top right, the Zergy buddy getting himself up dem workers, droning up as hard as he can. The Protoss is getting in there and seeing literally everything that there is to see, which at the moment is nothing. Bit of banter going on in the chat. He is here for revenge. His fallen comrades, their voices cry out to him from the chat room that they're sitting in, pretending to be dead. We have ourselves a pool. A pool, my kingdom for a pool, going down. On 15 or 14, I think it was. The Zerg having to try and expand. The Protoss being a nasty person about it. Forcing a little worker trade. Will the Zerg bring down an extra worker to chase away that probe? Will it matter? Yes! He's managed to do it! A clutch save at the last second, and down goes the natural. We didn't see a pylon block. We saw a little bit of a scuffle, but no pylon block there. The Protoss probe moving out to try and check out the third, wait for the base to come down because he's fairly certain it's going to. I have a feeling, however, that seeing where it's gone, the Zerg is going to send a couple of Zerglings down there shortly. Queen's coming out. In the bottom left, we have ourselves Forge Fast Expand. I believe that's actually 45 seconds and 25 seconds. So yeah, the Forge went down before the Nexus went down before the Forge. We're seeing a defensive attempt by the Protoss player. That worker, a little worker fight happening. Trying to recharge those shields. Micro, build a cannon somewhere. The cannon goes down, the worker potentially going with it. And then the Zerg is going to get up into his opponent's main and see that he has precisely 0 gas. At this point, I'm going to guess that the Zerg is going to take the opportunity to get all of the things that he needs. A worker has chased away the probe that was sitting outside his third, and I'm thinking we're going to see a third going down any second now, as soon as the Zerg has enough minerals to do it. Bam! There we go. In terms of actual units, we're talking about worker on worker fun. Protoss has one more, but the Zerg has the capacity to make them faster. At this point, the Protoss, well, he can't really move out without destroying these rocks, and the Zerg can, you know, see that he's done it. He's got an Overlord here, presumably checking for any kind of Phoenix harass by sacrificing its life boldly when they come out, just to reveal the fact that his opponent's going Stargate, if he does. We have ourselves a couple of gates going down. Gateway coming in to almost block this place in, although you're going to need more than one unit to block that hole. Does that sound dirty to you? Or am I just very rude, really? Oh, looks like a worker tried to build something there and then didn't. Maybe that was a whiff. Maybe it wasn't. Zerg now up to 3 bases, nearly. We've got ourselves a worker patrolling just to give him time, that little extra second to cancel that hatch if it turns out to be necessary, but at this point it's probably not going to. I don't know. My instinct at this point is that the Protoss needs to do a little bit of pushing at this point, because otherwise he is just sitting back and letting his opponent macro, which is never a good thing to allow Zerg to do, because you know what? More drones, more lava, and then he kills you with a million roaches, Stefano style. Stefano. It's a good thing he's not trying to be a role model for kids these days, because Christ, he's not doing a very good job of it. Barcode, wherefore art thou, barcode? No, seriously. Why'd you have to be a barcode, man? A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people assume wherefore means he's out there somewhere, but where? No. What it means is, why do you have to be that guy? A lot of drones going onto gas, and then going back onto minerals again. As the Zerg decides to go for tech fun. Overlord spread, actually quite interesting at this point. Let's have a quick look at the Zerg's vision. He's got vision around his opponent's base. Presumably he's going to have some around the back. All he needs now is an Overlord somewhere over here to complete the set. He's seen a probe moving out and is therefore going to assume, I think, that the Protoss is putting something down in his third. Which actually, the Automaton 2000, does that actually block buildings? Does anybody know? I don't think I've ever seen it happen. But it would be really bad, like, game-wise, if the Automaton 2000 stopped you putting your Nexus down because it was sitting in front of your minerals. We have ourselves an Overlord, which is going to see that probe coming up. Which means the probe has been discovered. It stops still. Descendant unwilling to commit to where he was going with that probe. Oh wait, no, in it goes. And I'm betting we're about to see a pylon coming down. The Protoss has nearly finished his warp gate upgrade. And open! Wow, that was a weird thing to channel. Should not be channeling Claptrap robots while doing this game. Bad move. Roach